Good morning, everybody. I am Dark Pelago, and thanks for joining me on another, you guessed it, watch this building session. Today is 419. Tomorrow's 420 for all you 420 people. Oh man, what a crazy week it's been. Yeah, it's just been a crazy week. And it's only Tuesday. That's right, only morning week. That's what I'm talking about. Wow. All right. Good morning. I'm Dark Pelago. Thanks for joining me on another morning watches building session. Today is whatever we went over that. All right. What am I doing here? Waiting for people to show up. Okay. All right. So we want to look at dots futures first. There we go. Overnight. Man, can I draw those levels or what? Jeez Louise. All right. Gonna give it another second for somebody to show up, and then I'm gonna jump into it. I don't have all day to be doing this, so I want to make sure that we get the information in that we can. All right, let's go. Okay. Look at that little doji yesterday, below the 50 day. Talk about a reversal area, right? We hit it. I mean, to be honest with you, 44.10 is my line in the sand. Above that, I think we have room up to 44.55. Below 43.72, we have room down to 43.21. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Yesterday was a horrible day for the stock market. Why? Because we didn't get any movement. It was a chop fest. We went up and we went down and we went up, and this is a little concerning that over the last several periods we have not been able to overtake the 21-200 combo. All right, so if it's true, right? If we're shorting the world now, because the last time we hit the 21 we sold off, like I said, we can flush all the way down to 43.55 and still be safe, right? It's when we crack that and make a new low, we flush down to 43.20, and then 42.68.25 is the level. Good morning, Binky. All right. This is just interesting. Like, look at these moves here, right? Big dump into little ripper, dumper, ripper, dumper, ripper, dumper, ripper. The market's schizophrenic right now, to be honest with you. But to be honest, if we can't overtake the 30-minute 200, right? Even though we are making higher lows and higher highs, we really need to look at downside levels. Okay, so let's do this, shall we? Let's go from here to there and then down. All right, I got my levels for the day. Morning, Johnny. All right, so on the ES, I'm looking at the 30-minute chart. The 30-minute 200 has been the level of resistance. Okay, so if we can get a couple closes, but don't do this. All right, check, check, check. Hope Streamlabs doesn't try to open up again twice. That'd be weird. You think we dump today? I think we've got a very good possibility of definitely picking a direction today. What's going to happen is this 50 day is going to either come up and cross above the 200 at about, come on, no, don't end my stream. All right, sorry, I'm worried about my stream ending because Streamlabs keeps saying that it's verifying. All right, well, regardless, so look at this picture here. If this were a stock, right, if this were Apple or any other stock for that matter, we would be like, oh, we're below the 50 and below the 21. Let's look at the downside. Okay, that's a very real possibility. But what we're going to get today is we're going to get either this in the next couple of hours. We're going to get this 21 bouncing off of the 50 and moving up, and that'll pull price with it. There's a very clearly defined trend line here. We're going to get the 50-day testing the 200, probably around lunchtime maybe. All right, maybe not till the end of the day with how slow it's moving, right? Yeah, towards the end of the day. All right, we just start drawing some lines here. But what I'm seeing is this is clearly defined trend line. All right, so if we follow this path at, you know, 8:30 my time, which is, it's 5 now, so 3 hours from now, so right after lunch, we're going to break through and then continue to move up towards 43.35 or 44.35, 44.44, right? That magic 44.44 number. Contrarian, right? This 21 crosses down. We break this trend line and we move back down to this 382 retracement, which is also our snow line, and we retest that. All right. If we get some closes below that, then I'm looking at a 43.21 and then 42.70, like a flush, right? The other thing that we have to consider is possible just chop in between this big range here. Now, I'm good with that. All right, let's look at the NQ, right? From everything that I scanned this weekend, the NQ had the greatest possibility for tech stocks to actually make a rally. Well, unfortunately, right, this doji is a reversal doji off of 382. Looking at this, right, just looking at it from a candlestick perspective, this is a very bullish reversal candlestick. We had a low, we had a high, we had a 382 retracement from this high, you know, from this run. If this is a true doji, right, on the daily, then we have to look at upside targets of 14,260, 14,380, 14,443. Okay, the snow line, once we get above here, right, let me draw it out. This might take a couple days to get there. That's the move we're looking for, right? All right, now from a 4-hour perspective, all right, we rallied up to the 200, couldn't stay above it, fell off, rallied up, tested the 21, tested 21. If we can't get above the 21 during regular market hours, during the cash opening and cash session today, and we give up 13,83125, 13,467 is our downside target. Okay, we had a 50, 200 cross down, so we're downtrending on the 4-hour, right? Bringing it down to the 30-minute. Again, this big old dump, right? To dump to, bet you this is like the 200 once it finally loads. Yep, there it is. So we're going to see, we're going to get another one. We're going to get a 50-200 cross up or rejection on the 30-minute. We're looking for the 21 to curl back and around and come up and cross up. So, I mean, I might just sit out until we cross and close above 14,007, 1414, 14014, right? Anything in this level here. Right, anything above that. We immediately have resistance at 14,065, 14,105, and then a little bit of breathing room up to 14242. Okay, contrarian, right? If we reject, I mean, that's a pretty dead nuts trend line, which could possibly be a channel. Yeah, so let's see. In the next 2 hours, we're going to retest this level here. If we can get above it, then I think we get a nice move up. If we reject it, come back down, take out this skyline, 13831, retest previous lows, and then look at a move down to 13,500. Okay. It's all gonna happen today. Okay. The Dow yesterday. Super interesting with the Dow. Okay. I know it's kind of hard to see, but this is the 50-21. We're parallel, right? We're just flat. 2150, so 200, 2150, just super flat, right? Get rid of some of this stuff here. Yeah, I'm not getting any symmetry with those, so I'm not trusting the fib levels on the Dow. So, but I do trust this 382 and this 50%, like this longer term, these longer term fibs. But look how flat this is, right? Can we say consolidation? Now, once this consolidation breaks, we're going to get an explosive move. But again, I don't trust it until we get at least 2 closes, right? 2 full candlebar, bullish candlebar closes above the 200. This doji reversal, right? Let's look at the 4 hour. Like, what is this business, right? This is a 200. We're staying away from it on the 4 hour, but we can't get anything going above the 50-21 because they're flat. But see that squeeze that's happening, right? We will eventually we will eventually just squeeze ourselves into a corner, you know, the 26th, right? 28th April. We'll eventually squeeze ourselves into a corner where we have to pop out one side or the other. But again, talk about choppiness. Strength up, point of control. 30-minute point of control is at 34323. Value area low. All right, basically, look at this. It's just flat, man. I've never seen the Dow just flat. Okay, so when this spaghetti mess figures itself out, we're going to go one way or the other. We could look at, you know, a fib from here to here, right? We're coming up and retesting. Let me get rid of this line because it doesn't need to be there. Only use it in special occasions. All right, we're coming up to test the 382 retracement from this drop, right? If this fails, then we need to run a fib the other way. If this holds, then we need to look at this move down to the daily 200 or the 4-hour 200, right? 34,150 downside. Upside, we could look at 34,534. Okay. The red-headed Russell. What's going on with it? Get rid of some of this junk that's on here. I don't know where that trend line came from, but it seems to be pretty valid. All right, we fell off. Couldn't retake the 50. Couldn't retake the 21. Coming down. We've created trend line support. Right, this 236 extension has held. Right, but again, we could just sit here and be sideways all day. Watch for the 2150 test. We'd like to see a bounce and a move up. That should drag price up to retest this 50A. We do have a tree line at 2038 previous high. That's the upside target. Support at 1969. Below that, we go down to 1917. The Russell's pretty easy to read. However, it's super choppy, right? Because this 4-hour 200 is just causing us grief, right? 2027 is resistance. If we start squeezing down into this way, right, we have to look at the downside move, right? And like I said, 1969 support. Below that, we have 1962 is one little possible bull trap, but below that we fade to 1917, right? Again, 30-minute, let the 30-minute be your guide, right? And, yeah, so there's your key levels, right? Chop until we get either above 2038 or below 1962, right? Then just, it's just gonna be super choppy. Okay, 30-minute perspective. Right, we're holding this trend line, right? But we're also resisting this 50% retracement, right? So what I would stay away until we get above 2001 for a move to 2027, right? Or below, like I said, 1969. I know that that's a big move, right? But look at the spaghetti cluster in here, right? Machines are respecting these levels. Okay. Remember, we are trading against the machines. All right. All right, that's Russell. Safe haven gold, right? Everybody's been like moving into gold. Fertilizer is another one we've been looking at, potentially getting into. Gold did have a little bit of resistance right here at 2006. I don't know where that line came from, but this is stacked positive moving averages. All right, looks like we're trying to run out a little bit of run out of gas. Definitely lower volume over the last couple days, right? Ride this 21. So we did get 50-200 cross up on the 4-hour, which is bullish. So 21 support. If, you know, target one is 2000, right? There's a $12 move there. If you wanted to trade some futures, gold futures, you might get a little bit of money off of that. But the 21 is supporting gold on the 4-hour. The 30-minute, we will find out here shortly. Like, we're going to try to get above it. But this 200 on the 30 minutes holding up. Okay. Gold, 1986 to 1991. And then 92 to 2002. It sounds like sounds like some of the best years of my life. hopefully that, there it goes. So, all right, gold, crude, all right. I'm going to stay away from crude until we get above 108. Then we have a 108 to 114 move. Right. Below 104, 101, right. Look for big old nasty head and shoulders. Right. Let me draw that. So watch for that to trade out, right? Something like that. TLT, which has by far been the biggest failure. I don't even know what's going on with it. I'm looking at getting, it's not necessarily leaps, but I'm looking at some further out calls, right? Michael Blurry's been short TLT, right? Bonds for 8 months now, right? We are holding up this downward trend, trading between one standard deviation, right? So this gray line is our mean, one standard deviation to the bottom, and one standard deviation up, right? Looks like we got a tree line magnet, so bonds to 138, look for a bounce there, right? That's pretty accurate. And then finally the yen. Look at the volume on that candle right there. Whew, crazy. Negatively stacked moving averages. Look for a retest of 78. Right, and then confirmation for continued move down. All right, that's it for the futures. I want to bring these down to a 3-minute. And let's get on with the rest of the news, shall we? All right. It was all a dream. That's a biggie in my head. I used to read Word Up magazine. Look at that sell-off in bonds. This being down is actually good for the ES typically, right? But this 200, right, is just causing drama. What's even more frustrating is I can't get it to load on all of my charts, right? But it's causing issues. So, I mean, let's just stay short, right? We're bearish until we can clear the 3-minute 200. That's an easiest way to look at things, right? Easy peasy. Let the 200 be your guide. All right, let's get into it. SWX, that big move to flatline, right? It's going to consolidate there for a little while. I'm glad we didn't trade it. Wow, Zendesk shares are up 8%. Crazy. That's a big move for a $100 stock. All right, let's look at this a little bit more. Compression. Is it trying to trifecta? Well, it is. All right, so look at this little. So long above 130.285, right? and just a big old bull flag forming on it. So I've never even looked at futures on those. Let's see what they look like. Be aware they only have monthly expirations and they're expensive, so maybe we just won't trade that. Okay. Twitter's in the news again. Apollo Global Management is considering participating in a bid for Twitter, according to the Wall Street Journal, after Elon Musk threw out $43 billion to buy the company. Twitter is expected to rebuff Mr. Musk's offer in the coming days. The company is set to report earnings on the 28th. Right. I don't even know what to make of this, to be honest with you. A cup and handle possibly. Long above 49. We hit 50, 51. Watch that 200, right? Yeah, so long above 49 for a move to 50, right? And then we trade 50 to 51. Gotta pay attention to the 200. We should get a 50-200 cross up. Twitter could be fun to trade today if there's not too much IV built into it. It's pretty bullish across the board, right? Short Twitter, I don't even know, man. 47, but with a rising 50-day. It held at 34. Yeah. If Twitter does break down, below 47, or move back down to 45. Yeah, Twitter. Yeah, Twitter should be fun. You could let's look at Twitter. Twitter. Yeah, this week's 50s are pretty decent. I mean, you could go out to the 54s, which I think is a little far out. All right, I like the Twitter 51s. Write that down someplace. Where can I write this down? Right here. I have this whole server I can write stuff in. All right. Next, Cassava is back in the news. Y'all remember Sava, right? The shares are down 17%. Whoopsie. All right, shares are down 17%. After the New York Times reported the company has trumpeted an exciting new treatment for Alzheimer's is now under fire for irregularities in its research. That just this thing will get. Oh, I hate this stock. Buy the rumor, sell the news. This is one of those where you think it's going to die and it'll actually make a move. So I would say 2250 is the line in the sand, right? So you could do a 15 top backdoor, right? Or money shot up to 25. Or you could look at the 1850 puts on rejection of 22, right? All right. Johnson & Johnson earnings. Yo. Jeez. Johnson & Johnson will stay away from it until it breaks 180. Supports at 172, resistance is at 180, right? All right, and financials. Plug Power, y'all remember this? Announced an agreement with Walmart for an option to deliver up to 20 tons per day of liquid green hydrogen. That's huge. Oh my gosh, this stupid thing is going to do it again. Oh, man. All right, so above 28.50, I think we see 30.31. This is, no, there it is. It's nasty. All right, so yeah, you can trade. This should be a fun one to trade. So we do have support. All right. Like I said, 28.50 is kind of a line in the sand. It's a 2-hour 200. It's also would be a move like this. Let's see if I can show you what that looks like. All right, so that is daily bottom, weekly mid, 4-hour bottom, right? Daily mid, 200 day, 4-hour top support for a move up to here, right? One, two, three, four, five. I like it. Contrarian, if we reject, like, I don't know, that's just Master Blaster. Jeez. Yeah, it just looks good long. All right. Plug. Get back over here. Long above. All right. Next up. U.S. Supreme Court on Monday declined to hear Spire's appeal to the lower court ruling that it could close a 65-mile pipeline that runs through Illinois and Missouri. Utility rating on Barclays, Halliburton, Jimmy Hunt, Hasbro earnings. Hasbro. EPS at 57 versus 64. Revenue is 1.16 versus 1.15. Said it has a plan to continue growth in 2022, including low-digit revenue growth despite strengthening of the U.S. dollar and potential risk of approximately 100 million in Russia. Oh, Hasbro. I wouldn't trade this. It just doesn't move enough. Sorry. Okay. All right. World news. Bullard said late yesterday the Fed Reserve needs to move quickly on rates to get them up to 3.5% this year, and that a 75 BPS hike cannot be rolled out. What the actual? That's a new conversation. It's a new tone. It's a new, what you call it, a new message. Yeah, that's sketchy AF. All right, well, Bullard out there being hawkish. Now we need Powell to come in and calm everybody down. All right, this might actually affect travel sector. Let's see. Yeah, I'm thinking it might. One second. I'll tell you why I'm looking at this. Okay. Passengers on airplanes, trains, and other public transportation in the U.S. don't have to wear masks anymore after a federal judge struck down the mandate on Monday. The U.S. Transportation Security Administration and Center for Disease Control and Prevention said orders requiring masks on public transportation would no longer be enforced, although both agencies continue the recommended use. Okay. Earnings after the close. Netflix today. Netflix has earnings, and so does Interactive Brokers. Netflix with the earnings play. Netflix is a good pulse for what the market's going to do. For our support earnings today, Netflix typically has pretty decent earnings. All right. If we're looking for a black swan event, that would be Netflix having bad earnings. Okay, next up on our little IBM has earnings today too. International Business Machines. All right. And then that's earnings after the close, before the bell. Lockheed Martin, Johnson & Johnson, Halliburton. All right. You would think that this would be more of a running stock since they make machines for war, but oh well. All right, events today. Housing starts for March. Building permits and Johnson Red Book weekly sales are all at 8:30. We just had those. Checking on the market. Yeah, still choppy. All right. All right, U.S. stocks edged lower on Monday, while the 10-year Treasury yield continued its upward march at 2.85% following a three-day holiday weekend. All three indexes wavered between small gains and losses throughout the day, before a sliding late day and ending with a late day spike to pair losses. Healthcare was the weakest, while energy led. The U.S. dollar, crude oil, gold, Bitcoin all ended higher as stocks sputtered. An Asian market Syndic index gained 885 points. Go Bay. The Shanghai index was little changed, and the Hang Seng tumbles 2.28%. Europe, the DAX is down. FTSE 100 slips 0.4%. U.S. data today consists of housing starts and building permits for March, and the only scheduled Fed speaker is Chicago Fed Evans, who speaks to the Economic Club of New York. Forex Factory does not even have that, right? So let's see what we got. Bum bum bum. Right, this is bullish. It's bullish, which means that they're issuing more building permits and they're starting to build more houses. Okay. All right. That's it. Let's get into the requests. This is FlowTrade. This is a smart money dark pool, block trade, and algorithm that tracks large institutions, hedge funds, smart money, dark pools, and block trades. The charts you see in front of you consist of a green price action. The purple is the flow index. Red lines across your screen are regular block trades. Blue lines are dark pool block trades. And white lines are a good time if you're younger. But no, what they really are is when a regular and a dark pool print on top of each other, I cannot draw a line to separate them out. And those are major areas of inflection. For example, on TTD, the $75.22 level was support until it wasn't. It was resistance and couldn't get back through. So put that line on your screen, see what happens when price gets there. Use it as a target, right? You know what to do with those. All right, get me your requests. And first person here gets the first request. And Binky wants to look at Amazon. Sorry, Johnny, you got beat out, buddy. You got beat out. Y'all didn't know this, but me and Johnny have a lot in common. We have a lot in common. Look at that Amazon. Oh, it's glorious. It is glorious. So what you see here is you see what's called bullish divergence. This purple line being smart money is their they're scaling into this position, they're net buying. So if you wanted to make a $500 million order, you can't just drop a market order, because what would happen is you would immediately run up and down the DOM, eating up all of the liquidity to get your shares filled. That would attract some attention. You would cause an artificial spike until people realize there's no liquidity, and at the end of the day, you would actually be into a position at a lower price point than what you wanted to be in, because you've eaten up all liquidity up, all liquidity down. Other institutions come in, push the price lower because they know that you made a mistake and you hit market order. So you would be in a negative position. So to combat that and to actually get in and get out of positions, smart money scales into positions as the price is coming down, right? What that does is it creates an area of divergence, which is also an area of opportunity for us, because we know that price action will revert to the area of divergence from where price and the flow index diverged. The 3340, 3360 area for Amazon, right? That's where, actually it's more here, more around this area here. 3168, well, look, that little divergence there's played out. This is trading with price. So any divergence we have is very micro. We don't have this massive divergence that it looks like, because most of it's already played out, okay? Now, a little inverted head and shoulders possibility happening here, a little double bottom, but we do have support at the 3,000, 3,015.25 level, right? The regular blocks are sitting down there. Those are probably buy orders. People are like, Amazon at 3,000, right? Buy the dip and then sell into it. 100-point move. That's a pretty big move, okay? All right, so what I'm looking at here is, let's see. If the flow index continues to move up, sorry, I'm just looking at things here. I want to check. I drew that the wrong way, sorry. Again, keep drawing these the wrong way. All right. All right, so Amazon, it's such a tough one because it does move. Oh, look at that. Oh my, look at that. See how this is price trading with the flow index, right? This divergence is traded out. We've got fresh divergence here. So Amazon 3089, 3110 target, right? We have to make sure that we maintain, what happened now, right? Support at 3034. Below that, we got to look at the 3000s, right? But this is a good example of divergence, right? 3074, 3090, 3100 to the downside, like I said. I mean, that's pretty clean and clear. Hopefully this divergence makes sense now. See how price started to come up with it. I don't even know what Amazon's trading at right now. The chop is real, isn't it? I mean, I kind of see a head and shoulders here, unfortunately, with the neckline being at 3012. So for me, I would want to trade stocks that have got clearly defined moving averages, and this is just kind of choppy. So I would wait. 3100 calls, 3000 puts, just easy. I mean, I would go with the 3100 calls because of how the flow index is moving. All right. That took a long time. Next one should be a little bit quicker, right? Watch list. Johnson & Johnson had earnings. Let me know. Let me reread those. Well, hold on. Didn't Qualcomm have some news or some earnings? I swear it did. All right, Johnson & Johnson did have earnings. Let me find out what those were. All right, Johnson & Johnson Q1 EPS at 267 versus 261. They beat on EPS. They revenues miss at 23.43 billion versus 23.67. They guide forward-looking EPS at 10 to 1035 versus 1051. And says, given global supply surplus and demand uncertainty, company is suspending COVID-19 vaccine sales guidance. Oh, wow. Wow, they're saying that, ooh. Yeah, that's what I thought. This is just a tough one. Well, I mean, looking at it, with all things being considered, negatively stacked moving averages, right? MACD's down. Might get a short rally to the 21 to retest, which is also the 50. So 179.50. Maybe a rally to 179.50 before the next move down. Let's just call it 180. I'd stay short below 180, long above it for a move to 182, 184. That's a good look right there. Right? Supports at 173, 173 down to 168. And then 180 to 184. I know that's a big range, but it is what it is. That 5200 right here at 184 is a big deal. So from a flow index perspective, right, Johnson & Johnson, 1 minute flow index, divergence traded out, 15 minute shows us that, right, You got a 180. So 180 is that white line right there, smack dab in the middle. Support's coming in at 176. Below that, 172. You got dark pull level at 176.46, regular at 177. So below 176.46, we free fall down to 174, which is previous high, previous low, right? Previous support right here at this level. Right there. All right. There's a trading zone that runs right. There's a zone that runs right here. You could trade down, right? Trade the zone down. And then this is 180 right here. Right, so you see what we're working with, possible head and shoulders forming, right? Left, so this would be the left shoulder, big ol' nasty head, right shoulder, short. Okay, that's Johnson and Johnson. All right, next up is Zoom, XOM, ExxonMobil, right? Bearish divergence, right? Lots of white lines for support. All right, ExxonMobil. So we have a white line at 88.40. We got another one at 86.81. Right, or 86.84. So if we can bounce off of that 88.50 level, I think we can maybe touch 90, but with the flow index heading in one direction. So divergence, trade with price, divergence here. Out. $85 to the downside, right? This is where that divergence occurred. I'm off on that level, but it's not. Oh, it's gonna let me move it. Sweet. And so I like, what is this? The 86. Of course it hits at pre-market. Jeez. For our top, for our mid, weekly cloud, right? So pull back to 86-ish, ish 86.80, right? Below that, we move to for our bottom, which is 85. Weekly bottom, so 84.50 to 85, right? Below like 86.50, right? So for our top, for our mid, for our bottom, daily cloud 21 EMA break on the 4-hour, we pull back, right, to this level of support. MACD's starting to curl over and down, but intraday, right, we're getting some slingshot stuff happening here. You have a supply zone or demand zone that pretty much runs in there, right? That's a 4-hour mid right there. right? 4-hour mid, right? So we either double bottom and move back up to 89, or we have this nice downside move getting ready to set up. Okay. Intraday, like 5, 10, 15 minute, right? We're getting some slingshot action happening here, but our primaries, right? The histogram is above the 0 line, but on the 4-hour, we're sloping down. So this could set up pretty nasty head and shoulders as well. All right, next up on the list, Qualcomm. This is just nastiness. 142.81. Above that, I think we got a nice move to 150, 155, right? So white line level 139.32. We have lots of regular and dark pool support below us. Price is trading with the flow index, so there's no like divergence that we can use to help guide our way, but it is nice little channel up, right? So first target 142. Above that, fill gap to 146. If we break this trend line, right, we break out of this channel here. This is an interesting, well, it's pretty plain as day. There it is. It's going to squeeze till it gets up here, or it's going to fail one of these points, and then we need to look at 135. 135, 142 on the Qualcomm. Yeah, this is just ugly. Ugly. Look at that squeeze that's happening on the 4-hour, right? So above 140.56 for move to 142.50. I would say below 138.15 for move to 137. Below 137, we retest lows at 135. 135 puts on the break of 137, right? And then we go 142 calls on the break of 140. I know it's kind of hard, but we are kind of holding above this 200. But we have it's a down sloping 5200. All right. Squeeze. It's squeezing. All right. And then finally, triple M. Orlando, I will look at stocks. Just give me 1 second. And SPY. And then, all right, MMM. The flow index is making lower lows and lower highs. Regular block at 146.18. Support coming in at 145.80. Below that, we trade down to 144 and then 140. I'm not seeing anything that gives me any bullish hope for this. Down and up and down. Yeah, it's ugly. It is ugly. All right, so MMM below 145.58. We flush to 143, then 140. It's got a lot of work to get bullish, so I would be definitely looking for some downside moves. Really, until we can fill the gap, the 152.35 to 155 gap, right? Falling 50-day that stuffed us, and a series of lower lows and lower highs with the flow index kind of curling it back around. I'm not super bullish on MMM. Okay. All right, last two I got to run. Let's look at, yes, MMM to the downside. I like it as well. All right, so there was a request for socks, right? And you want to look at the SPY. All right, socks, and they're net buying into it. We've got divergence right at 450. Let's just say 452. Right, dark pool support. Right, this level here. All right. The flow index can continue to make higher highs and higher lows, right? That's trading with price right now. I need it to like make a new high. We have dark pools at 453, 460, and 464 as magnets. Supports at 415. This is just negatively stacked moving averages all over the place. Above 434.75, we have a gap fill up to 450, possibly 460. But I would target 450. If we cannot overtake this 21, then I'm really hard pressed to find some levels of a trading zone that goes basically 416 down to 391, with 400 being the psychological level. This thing moves super, it moves a lot. I don't like trading it. It moves too fast for me. All right, and then finally the SPY. All right, what's going on with our friend the SPY, other than this weird little bat ear pattern that I don't like to see? What a chop fest, man. What a chop fest. All right, well, as long as we have this negatively stacked moving averages, right? 450, 448 is the line in the sand. Above that, we have a move to 460. As long as we keep rejecting this stuff, though, right? This is an interesting move here. Like, we're just in the daily cloud. So for our bottom, for our mid, for our mid, for our bottom, right? That's the pattern, right? 21, reject. 21, reject. So I would say I'm going to stay short on the SPY as long as we're below 458, to be honest with you. Is there a move from 440 to 458? Yeah, possibly. But I like clean directional moves, and this is giving me what if I showed you it looking like this? What would you say? Right? You'd be like, oh, let's go long above 435, right? Okay, well, let's go short below 433.26 for a move down to 423. Right, I gotta run. Thanks for joining me on Dark Pool Algo. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Stay safe, stay green, and make sure you like the video. Have a great day. I'll see you in the chat rooms. Bye now.